barking out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a new river thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day.
No dilling and no dallying. Welcome. How are you? Christmas week here on the program. Hope you're well. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat room, and the Professional Door Incorporated text line. We'd love to hear from you here on this Monday. My goodness, it is here. Hard to believe.
Scoop, faster than a sprint.
The Reaction Monday, as it always is. We got the coaches, Bill Elmassian and Todd Grantham, in our second and third segments today. We'll hang out here in the opening segment, you and I. How's everybody doing with their shopping and so forth? Everybody good to go? Good morning, Andrew. Not yet. We're getting there. Have to go in a few hours today, unfortunately, but to the office at RU. But yeah, we'll get there. It's gonna be one of those midday things. Highlanders beat VMI yesterday. And yeah, we're going out tomorrow. See, when your kids are older, you have the luxury, and I don't even try to guess anymore. So we're going to go out. We're going to rekindle the tradition. My mom and I, for, I don't know, before she passed, for about 20 years, 25 years, we would go out close to Christmas time. Usually the week of Christmas, because her birthday is tomorrow, 23rd. So we would go out and we'd just spend the day shopping. She would want to make sure I had things that I wanted, so forth. And it was just time to hang out and be with her. And I'm so glad that I committed myself to that, because now with her being gone, it's something I miss. So this year, my daughter and my son, we're going to go out on her birthday tomorrow and just kind of relive that in dedication to her, homage to her, and find them a few things. But all good, TLB. Shopping's done. Christmas cooking. And I want to hear about that. We're going to have a couple days here. I will not be doing a show Christmas Eve morning or Christmas Day, Wednesday or Thursday, but we'll have a show tomorrow as well and on Friday. Yeah, I want to hear about now, Christmas food is, I mean, that can be different, right? I mean, and I know a lot of people change up what you have for Thanksgiving, but let's hear some of the Christmas food stuff. I mean, there's no rules, right? I mean, traditionally, I know growing up, I always feels like we had Christmas ham and so forth. Sometimes I would get a little old. I remember one time, my dad and my uncle, it was Christmas early afternoon, and we had the ham and all that. And I remember my dad saying, you know what I want? I want some steak. So we went out. We were out there grilling steaks on Christmas afternoon. So, yeah, there's no wrong rules, man. I want to hear about your recipes for Christmas. What's that look like? Exactly. We just eat whatever. You can mix it up, man. People have themes for Christmas, too. There are Italian food themes, Mexican food themes I've been part of. So, yeah. Good stuff. So we'll have those two gentlemen. We're going to talk about the playoff weekend. And, man, oh, man, it's not a good result weekend for those of us like me who were happy to see the underdog have a chance in the college football playoff. Tulane, once again, got blown out by Ole Miss. They weren't really competitive. And James Madison ended up covering the spread late, but they just couldn't stop Oregon. And, the Dukes put up over 500 yards, 34 points. They ran, I think, for almost 300 yards, something like that. But, it's just a different level. And unfortunately, the two times that we've had the G5 teams from the Commonwealth make the playoff, it's been Oregon. It's been the opponent. First it was Liberty, and now it was James Madison. So I hate that. And now I'll tell you what, man, people are out in full force. I mean, it is not stopping that these teams don't deserve a chance. And they're saying, hey, we got robbed of two other teams. I guess one would have been Notre Dame. I don't know who else they would think, who else would fit in there. They did play well. Yeah, they did. They struggled in the first quarter. No doubt. Hey there, Cacold. What's up? Hey, Southwest Virginia to Texas. We did our extended family Christmas dinner this past Saturday. Oh, very cool. Beef tenderloin. Oh, yeah. Steamed Cajun shrimp. Where's my plate? I don't want any roasted veggies. But the other two. Good stuff, man. Yeah, beef tenderloin. Get that tenderloin fork with a piece of shrimp bite. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But, the Dukes, they did fight to the end. They didn't stop. They kept playing. Took some risk with the onside kicks and so forth, but they were playing to win. And Oregon's good. And, we did see a difference in overall talent level, but they were able to do some things. They were able to move the football. They just were unable to do anything to stop the quack attack. So please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. By the way, that would be awesome if you would. Help us out in that regard too. That would be very nice. And thank you for all of you who have. So now all I'm reading is that none of the teams like JMU or Tulane should ever get a chance again. People are just waiting to jump on it, and they are. I mean, we're getting national pundits back this whole thing. Hey, Brian, good morning, brother. I'm pretty sure we've had some blowouts. But, yeah, exactly, Brian. Thank you. It's not like we've had non-blowouts in Power 4 games. By the way, all 4 games were kind of good for Miami. Hey, we talked about it. Go Canes. That was cool. I'm glad to see Miami represent the ACC and get a dub over Texas A&M. That was cool. Terrible football game, though. And then even the Oklahoma-Alabama game felt weird. It wasn't great football. So, yeah, you're right, Brian. 100%. It's not like every game in the power schools is competitive or exciting either. They just wanted any excuse, man, to say, here we are. See, we told you. And I'm a mashed potatoes guy, David. I'm not really a baked potato guy. My family love baked potatoes, mom and dad. But I am a mashed potato guy. I like the au gratin, too, the scalloped potatoes. Rick Smith's on the channel. Good morning. What's up, Wayne? What's up, brother? Still haven't opened your package, Wayne. Wayne went out of his way. I tell you what. He and his lovely wife, Carol, sent a package, and I haven't opened it. I might wait till Christmas morning. I'm not going to have many gifts, so I might wait on Christmas morning. But very nice of you, Wayne. Thank you. So I may wait. They should always have one auto bid. Correct, at least, right? I think it's going to expand. I don't know whether they'll get the expansion approved by next year, but in 2 years, we're going to have 16 teams. Could be next year. TLB says, my part was sausage balls, chocolate peanut butter balls, and fresh fruit salad. Oh, my brother loves some fruit salad. Fried oysters and Maryland crab cakes for my dad. Oh, happy birthday. Tell your dad happy birthday, TLB. 86. That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Good for him, man. Still eating the fried oysters and crab cakes. That's great. Thanks, Wayne. I will, brother. And as I open it, I'll take pictures. Hey, Wayne, look what I got. And you'll go, yeah, I know. I was Santa. But anyway, it's a framed picture of you. It can wait. Well, if that's the case, we'll put it up. We'll take down Grantham back here. We'll put you up. By the way, just horrible, god-awful officiating in NFL today being critiqued. You pick out the game, there were calls that were just mind-blowing, and everyone's wondering why the league continues to stay so quiet about it. And I'm starting to think maybe the fact, and I got a lot of text messages on the Professional Door text line, maybe this isn't a situation where everything's fixed. Maybe the officials just suck that bad at their jobs. Yeah. That's true, Paul, unless it's something of the Browns. Something of the Browns, we're just going to throw it out there in the trash heap. I mean, I'm sorry, Wayne. Unless, of course, the framed picture of you is you standing there in a Browns uniform, then, I mean, that becomes double gold. Anything I can do to get that plate down. By the way, yesterday, Broncos get their ass kicked at home, and I mean, Jacksonville just beat their face in. That's the Denver Broncos that I knew really existed, this 11-game winning streak and all these close wins. I kept waiting, and I was calling the Radford game against VMI, and we were finishing up, and it was 7-all. You just know, right? You can't settle for field goals, especially in the NFL. Denver got the ball, and they were driving, and it was like 1st down and 10 at the 20-something. I'm looking on my phone, like, oh, cool, they take this in, they're going to be okay. Well, they had to settle for a field goal. I said, uh-oh, you're selling for a field goal early, you're going to lose. No chance. And Jacksonville won. Yeah, flowing locks looked really good. Flowing locks, Trevor Lawrence, my quarterback crush, I'm not going to lie. I mean, come on. When he was at Clemson, he came in. I mean, just watch him take off his helmet and throw his hair back. Come on. How do you not sit there and the ray of light come through the clouds and you go, ah. He's really good, and Jacksonville's really coming on. First-year head coach. And the Broncos, I think, may not win. I think the Chargers will end up winning that division, and we're seeing they've got work to do. They've made a lot of progress, but they're not the team that their record said they were. This is one case where the record wasn't what they really are. Troy says after this weekend, I'm convinced the NFL is scripted. A lot of people do. And again, that's something else the league just constantly ignores. A lot of the fans, I bet you it's half the fans really believe the NFL isn't real, that it's professional wrestling. But the league makes no comment. They don't do anything to evaluate their officials, to punish them, game checks, to train them, make them full-time. That's going to be $1 trillion industry in a few years. And they've got all the resources necessary to make sure their officials are trained. And they won't do anything about it, which also makes you wonder what's going on. Because I would think you would address that. But you see, they're counting money hand over fist. How bad were the kicking games over the weekend? I'm not sure I've seen so many missed chip shots. Yeah, and then you had the punt situation where the guy just dropped the ball. What was that? Was that the Oklahoma game? And people now, this is what's happened in sports, by the way. These aren't conspiracy theorists. If you went on X and look, People were posting that drop punt from the Oklahoma kid and some of those missed kicks that Andrew mentioned. And they're saying, hey, how much money did they have on this game? Texas A&M, apparently there was a lot of things. Now, I was out all day Saturday, but I didn't get to watch much football. But I did watch a little of it, and I saw some of the highlights. And everybody's just posting the same thing. They just now accept the fact that there are certain plays and aspects of these games that aren't real. And that's a problem. But nobody seems to give a damn because they're still counting money. How bad were you? Well, at least they scripted that the Cowboys and Chiefs are not in the playoffs. Yeah, I think they finally realized that, they didn't have to script the Cowboys again. They haven't been there since 84. The Super Bowl anyway. But, yeah, the Chiefs, I think they finally understood that what they had done to help the Chiefs over the last 7 years, that people were finally catching on and had caught on and were tired of it. They didn't want to see the Chiefs again. There's a guy, by the way, on Instagram who does a Chris Collinsworth impersonation, and the whole thing is focused on his just innate love for Patrick Mahomes. And Collinsworth he and Romo both are just Mahomes gushers. And it is so funny. You got to find it on Instagram. The latest one, he's writing a letter of resignation because Patrick Mahomes isn't in the playoffs and won't be around for at least half of next year because of his ACL. So good. It's the same guy who does Nikola Jokic on Instagram. Yeah, the Titans beat the Chiefs yesterday. Yet the Chiefs will go home on Christmas night and beat the Broncos. They were talking about the Titans-Chiefs under was caused by rest because 70% of the bettors were over. See? Exactly. There we go. We have Ole Miss and Georgia. Yeah, Lacey being out. I hate that. You don't want to see injuries. We're going to talk about all the postseason games with the coach. We got Elmassian, Todd Grantham today, by the way. You want to have a reaction Monday, man, go straight to the coaches. How about that? Jermaine will be back after the first of the year. He's traveling. Basically, he's off the rest of the month. So we'll have him back after the first of the year. Hey, do you like the little Christmas border there? You like that? For as much as I pay for this home studio, they give you little things like seasonal borders. Thanks, guys. Thanks, StreamYard. Focus is on what will secure the most TV viewership. Correct. Not on the competition of a good game. And that's replaced it. Cowboys played in 16 NFC Championship games over the first 30 years of the Super Bowl area. Played 0 over the last 30. Yeah. But yet here they are, still the richest sports franchise in the world. If they were to win another Super Bowl, good Lord, Jerry could sell them for $1 trillion. Oh, yeah, all in on Indiana, especially now that JMU's out. Let's go, Kurt Signetti. By the way, back-to-back National Coaches of the Year. It's never been done before back-to-back. He's too old. Could have been yours, Blacksburg. He could have been yours. What position did Todd play? Man, what position didn't he play? We'll talk to him. He was an offensive tackle. He was a defensive lineman. I'm not sure if he ever shifted outside. He played inside. Don't know if he was ever on the edge or not. Todd was just field mule strong. Remember him just tossing guys out of the way. Just get out of my way. Where's the quarterback? We'll talk to him about it. Todd was just a hell of a player. Then he got a scholarship to Tech, and he started over there for a couple years. I want to say he transitioned to center at Tech. I don't know. We'll find out. You ever want to see Todd in full? Go to Google and type in Virginia Tech Todd Grantham and look at him in uniform. Good Lord. He played River Rick felt like it. Coach Hicks during hamburger drills, which I guess have been outlawed today. Hamburger drills, when you line up between the two pipes, you'd have the team around you, and the coaches would try to get some enthusiasm, and you'd call two players in there to go head to head and just beat the hell out of each other. And I don't know how many times it had to be, all right, Grantham, get in there. Rick Watson. Oh, Coach, why? No. Don't, no. All right. I mean, how many concussions did I receive at the hands of Todd Grantham? And when you're a young punk like I was as a sophomore, man, good Lord, yeah, bull in the ring, yeah. But ours were those hamburger drills. Whew. You'd walk off the field sometimes and you'd question your own existence. Remember when Marty Smith was on and he told the story that after one practice, he took off his helmet. It was a couple months ago with He and Rag. By the way, the latest Marty and Rag segment on all the different formats has got over 3,000 views. How about that? Presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. But Marty said he took off his helmet, was, getting some water and said, you know what, I'm done. This is it. Telling guys, and the guy go, you're not going anywhere. Just shut up. Go get your helmet back. Get your water and come back. Well, I would have that thought almost every day. You'd walk off the field. Why am I doing this, man? And he kept thinking about Coach Hicks. He brought me up to the varsity squad for a reason. Somewhere he might think, well, that guy can help me out for a play or a series. He can do something to help. And that same year is when I saw a series in the state semifinals against T.C. Williams, because Michael J. Smith got hit so hard, God rest his soul. Michael J. Smith. Everybody knows who I'm talking about from Pulaski County, Michael J. Smith. And he got hit, and his face mask, I remember his face mask was sideways. Boom. So they had to get that fixed. And I was, his backup was already on the field, and I was the next guy. And I had to go out there against T.C. Williams. And I'm thinking, what the hell am I supposed to do? But I remember that game too, because you didn't think about things then like you do now, right? I remember Michael J., when he got his face mask, apparently it knocked off his mouthpiece. And you had to have a mouthpiece to play. Now you see guys flopping them around everywhere, right? Right? They're just everywhere. So I remember, and Michael J. wore number 9, and he sat over there, and I'm coming off the field because I know he's getting ready. My position coach, Coach Skeens, is like, gave me the signal. I knew I was done. I was kind of relieved. And Michael J., I don't have my face. I don't have my mouthpiece. Watson, give me my mouthpiece. So I just ripped off my mouthpiece. Or he may have. He squirted some water on it and just stuck it in his mouth. I'll never forget that, because he didn't have a mouthpiece. And we needed him. We ended up losing the game, I think, 14-7. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we threw a pick 6 late in the game. That's right. Remember, the Titans was based on my 6 or 8 plays against T.C. Williams. Exactly right. Yeah. Great memories. This week in the Patriot, by the way, I'm writing about Christmas sports gift memories. I hope you enjoyed that. If you want BDST t-shirts for Christmas, hit me up. Sold one yesterday at the Radford basketball game. $20 if I need to ship them, $30. It won't get there in Christmas on time for Christmas if I ship them, but $20 if you want them locally here. Ready Set Fund, readysetfund.com. Go see Bob Christ 11 at Gmail, and he'll let you know how they can have a text message program to help you raise the money you need for your sports team, your organization, whatever it might be. Thank you to Bob. Travis Williams and Professional Door Incorporated, he and I were texting. You know, he's good friends with Matt Roan and about the Oregon game. 38 years in business, right across from NRCC, sponsor of our text line. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST here on YouTube. Thanks to Lara Ramsey. Big Dog Sports Talk presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. I know those guys get ready to take a break, so we'll probably connect with them again to have them on the show after the first of the year. And boy, that's going to get exciting because you get into January in 2026, and that's where all those big plans are just sitting there. Charles Lee, Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Many people ask me, matter of fact, sitting there yesterday doing the Radford game, asking me about Charles Lee and Little River Heating and Air. So I think they're going to get some phone calls. The attorney Ryan Pry in Radford, 701 West Main Street, Trust and Estate Planning. And you know what we're going to do since we're not doing a show on Wednesday or Thursday? Friday, we're going to have our BDST fan question of the week, and it's going to be presented around your favorite sports Christmas gift memories. Let's do that. From snow-capped Bip Mountain, Santa is spotted practicing on a run in Palm Coast. We set up a hammock on the beach. Milk and cookies in a beer cooler. BST is live and online. Hey, Morris, glad to see you got your internet fixed. The algorithms have been loading my feed with old 70s and 80s tech highlight films. I'm enjoying going back. Yeah, that's cool, man. When you find those, that's awesome. Very, very cool. My two favorite Virginia Tech running backs of all time are Cyrus Lawrence and Roscoe Coles. Anybody remember those guys? Roscoe Coles was number 2, if I'm not mistaken, and Cyrus Lawrence, number 45. I grew up going to watch Tech play and watching those guys going, hey, look at those two guys. Now, they're good, and they were. Family Fencing Studios, by the way, here in Reiner. Thanks to Jason Green. Merry Christmas, Jason, you and Nicole. 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. And Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic. Go see Mark off of Peppers Ferry Road. They are the absolute best. Sponsor of our chat room. Yeah, I thought so. Bimbo, number 2. Wasn't Cyrus 45? Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. Thanks to James Lawson. Give him a call, 540-381-8011. And the NRV Super Bowl has been doing it for 25 years. They've got everything going, man. Everything going. So go see him. Five 540-382-5525. Ask for Amanda or Terry. Thanks to Harvey's GM in Radford. Appreciate them. And Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel. Thanks to him for our T-shirts. Everybody loves the T-shirts. That makes me happy. Haven't gotten the new sizes yet, but I will let you know. Oh, my goodness. Hokey Bob, this is wild, man. I got another picture yesterday, by the way, of somebody wearing a Big Dog shirt at the Tech women's basketball game. Hokey Bob says, my mom was born December 23rd, 1925. My mom was born December 23rd. Would have been 100 tomorrow. Wow. Miss her so. Yes, sir, Hokey Bob. Changes everything, brother. Something else. See there, Hokey Bob? That's why we've been linked. Mom's born the same day. Yep, Cyrus was 45. That's what I thought. Have you ever seen two offensive pass interference calls negate 2 touchdowns in the last 4 plays of a game? No. What game was that, Troy? Was that yesterday? Cyrus the Leaping Deer. Yeah, great players, man. Roscoe Coles. And I used to love that name, Roscoe Coles. Was that the game last night, Troy? I've been seeing a lot about pass interference in that Ravens game, or yesterday late afternoon. Brian, oh, really? I have one of Cyrus Lawrence's jersey. Oh, dude. No name, just a number. You'll have to send me that on the text line, Brian. We'll have to put a picture of it up, man. That's cool. My cousin used to work at Tech and came home with stuff occasionally. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Oh, the Pittsburgh-Detroit game. Okay. Oh, yeah, Wayne. Yeah, I can do that. As a matter of fact, Wayne, that's going to be part of my article coming up. So let me see if I still have. Yeah, I've got them up here. Hang on. All right, so my favorite toy growing up was the Tudor. I've said this a lot here, and you know what I'm talking about, the Tudor electric football game. And now you're going to get a visual of at least one of the guys. I'm not going to bring the whole. So Tudor games made a lot of stuff. Remember the old baseball fields? I'm talking about the metal fields. And they all ran, the guys would go in the grooves and run around the bases. They made hockey, but the one that they made was electric football. The big board. I don't have any around. I have 3 in my games, but they're in my shed. And you plug them in and you would set up a formation with the plastic teams and it would go. Remember that? And people would say, oh, chaos. And they always make fun of that toy this time of year, jumping around. Well, you had to know what you were doing. You could get playbooks and you could set up formations, and that's what I did. And my mom, there was one team that I could never get, and it was the old Houston Oilers when they had the light blue jersey and the silver helmet. And I would have every team, but I did not have the Oilers. And I don't know what it was. They were either out. So one year, and I found all this out a little later as I was older, she had talked to the people at Tudor. She didn't want to disappoint her baby boy. And they said, well, we can't have them painted in time for Christmas, but we can send you the figures and the paint colors and instructions on what they're supposed to look like. We can get you that, but you'd have to do it yourself. And she said, yeah, she did it. And one day I woke up and there they were, and I was just ecstatic because I finally had all the teams. I wasn't really an Oilers fan, but I wanted the whole set. And at that point, at that time, there were 28 teams. So my mom stayed up late and she painted the Houston Oilers. And I don't know whether you can see that or not. I'm trying. But that's what those guys look like. You know what I'm talking about. I left the original number on, even though it's not there anymore. And that position, with the arms out, they had different molds. And that was like a defensive end or, a tackle or something. That's the way I played them. But you see the silver helmet. I'm trying to get a good look. I'm sorry if you can't see it. The light blue jersey with the red trim. So my mom painted this team. And I was so fortunate that when she passed, going up through the teams and everything and finding them all. Ah, cool. Thank you. Got a picture of Cyrus Lawrence and Roscoe Coles. Look at Cyrus Lawrence. Good Lord. And see, I love that jersey, man. He's sitting there. I'm going to show the picture you sent. Look at that. Look at Cyrus. Look at him. Now, orange wasn't really as much of a thing in the football uni at the time, but I love that VA Tech 45. That's the jersey I remember right there. That is sharp. Look at that. Look at that guy. Look at Cyrus Lawrence. Whew. Jeez Louise. Thank you. That's a great picture, man. I'm going to save that for my own personal. That's awesome. Appreciate that. But anyway, my mom painted this whole team, and it's the most special thing that I own because I found, I think there's 8 of them. There were 11, and I have them, and I wouldn't sell them for $1 trillion. This guy, I see the number reflection. This number 75. I don't know who he was in the old silver. But anyway, that was Tudor Electric Football. And my mom, I found out later, stayed up basically all of Christmas Eve night into the morning before we got up to, to go nuts with the stockings and the presents. And she painted that team for me. So I write about that this week in The Patriot. But there you go. Maybe the most special thing that I own right there. And I know that may sound silly to a lot of people, but that might be the most special thing that I own. We'll put him back up there with his teammates. But anyway, exactly the things that moms do for their kids on Christmas. This was great. Yeah, she did a good job. And later on, she told me they had instructions. They showed what step by step what you should paint first, and she followed them. Thank you, Matthew. They are awesome. Yeah, without moms, I agree. That's why it's tough, man. The holidays, and I don't want to be a bah humbug and all that. I appreciate the holidays and what it represents with Christmas, but I'm just talking about it changes everything when you lose your parents. Virginia Tech needs to wear those throwback unis. That how great is that? It's so simple, but yet for VA Tech, the 45, man, it looked good. Plus, the guy wearing it made it look good too. Cyrus Lawrence, man. Well, Jordan, if you think Shedeur is a generational talent, I don't know what generation he represents, but he's got a generational ego. I'll tell you that. Two more interceptions yesterday. Like I said, I don't know what generation. Yeah, I've seen enough of Shedeur Sanders. Yes. We'll see if he develops into an NFL quarterback. They do look similar to A&M. They do. Those jerseys did look similar to A&M. Absolutely they did, Andrew. What's up, Jordan? Welcome, by the way. Jordan Brooke Barnett. Want to make sure you get your name right. Let's not ruin Christmas by talking about Sanders. Yeah, the Browns took two quarterbacks in the draft, and I don't know if they're going to end up keeping either one of them long term. No worries, Jordan. I get it, man. What's up, David? David Mabry. I got to get David back on here. He says, on Three Rings Football. By the way, tell Julian it's my fault. I got to get him on here, too. Posted the 1980 Peach Bowl, Virginia Tech, Miami, Sidney Stell, Lewis Stewart, Cyrus Lawrence, and Mike Sharness. Mike Sharness coached me at Pulaski County High School. He's been a great head coach since then. He was an assistant under Joel Hicks. Coach Sharness is a good coach, man. Tall guy with blonde hair. And I'm loving that Cyrus Lawrence picture. There is no orange at all on that uniform. That's interesting. I didn't remember that, but yeah, that's all maroon and white. And I don't think there's even any orange around the VT script. And I love that VT script on the helmet right there. That's my favorite Tech helmet because it's the one I grew up with. It's the one you grow up with. That's sharp, man. Old Lane Stadium in the back. Look at that. If you can see that, that's so cool. Thanks for that picture, man. That's great. Vaughn Hebron. Denver Broncos, by the way. There you go. Oh, very nice, Wayne. Wayne's got a Vaughn Hebron jersey. That's a nice jersey, too. Wayne just sent that. Look at Vaughn's jersey. Now, that's got the orange. I like that stripe right there. That's the Packer stripe that Steve Ragsdale talked about. Look at that. Ooh, the orange casing around the 4. You probably can't see it. I'm sorry. It's really nice the way they did that. That's a good look right there now. That's a really good look. 4 state championships. Yeah, I knew he'd won at least 2, 4 of them. Wow. 2 minutes of Browns talk, 2 minutes too much. Do I remember a kid from Pulaski named Dorian Hendricks? He dunked on me in 8th grade. I know. Now, I'm guessing since he's from Pulaski, if he's part of the Hendricks family, I was good friends with Kevin Hendricks, who was a hell of a football player. So you got a lot of Hendricks from Pulaski. I'm sure Dorian, yeah, I do remember the name. Dorian had to come from that crew. Man, oh, man. Joseph says, I have a 1984 Tech schedule card with the sack man on it. Yeah, send me that too. That's cool. These pictures are great. I'll try to share them. I know they don't show up really well, but that's cool memories right there. Very cool. Go over to the Tech game. Dad would drop off me and my brother. Usually he had to work Saturdays, but we wanted to go, and we'd either call my mom or a friend. We'd meet friends, and we'd ride home with, my neighbors or whatever. Good stuff. Oh, cool. Here you go. We're getting some cool stuff again. Oh, there's the schedule card. That's cool. Look at that. Bruce Smith going up against – look at the Vanderbilt uniforms. Can y'all see that? That's Vanderbilt. Nah, it's going to wash out, isn't it? There's Bruce. Thank you, Joseph. Bruce going in, no name on the back, no orange whatsoever. It's interesting to me now. This is 84. There was no orange incorporated in the Tech uni at all. It was all just maroon and white. They do look like A&M. Vanderbilt's cool. Quarterback's got the old gold, big white stripe. I wish pant stripes were a thing again. I hate the non-stripe on pants. Black helmet with Vandy, white encased in gold. That's sharp, man. That's good stuff. Bruce. Was he any good? Bruce Smith? But I bet he never made it in the NFL, did he? Oh, wait, he's in the Hall of Fame. They should recreate electric football with today's technology. It could be so realistic that Trevor Lawrence can have his Rapunzel like flowing. It's funny you say that, TLB, because I follow a couple of groups that are dedicated to electric football, and now you can personalize them. It's so cool. You can paint them yourself, or you can order them, and the guys look like the guys. Now, I'm going to be a traditionalist. I like the old guys, but I think it's cool that the memory's still alive. It's not going to capture the same fields, but that's cool. Yeah, it would be nice to have a you could do it. They could do it now. You could have Lawrence in that 16 and have the hair out. And every time I got upset when I got home and watched him lead another touchdown drive, they would always catch him on the sideline, taking his helmet off and throwing back his hair. And I would be like, oh, wait, no. He just threw a touchdown. No, hate that guy. No, Bruce was 78. Yeah. We've got pictorial evidence. Yeah, that's Bruce right there. Yep. Matter of fact, that was one of the things he asked for when he was with the Bills, to have that number. Anyone have pics, Wayne asked, of classic black text unisex from the 80s? Oh. I don't remember him ever wearing black. I think it's interesting what I didn't remember looking at all that. At that time, there was no orange whatsoever. I'm glad they've added it, but that's interesting. I remember Jesse Penn for Tech. Great player. Yeah. Remember that name too, David. Jesse Penn. Wow. Good times, man. Lane's great now with the expansion. Look, they had to do it. I'm not being get off my lawn, but wasn't Lane really cool back then when it was smaller too? It was special on a sunny early Saturday in September, no matter who they were playing. It was cool, man. Big scoreboard in the south end zone. a special place. Your back always hurting sitting on those bleachers. But hey, you got to see real-time college football right there. You know, it was like, wow. Good stuff. Good stuff. And great uniforms. I think I liked all those old Tech uniforms. Yeah, they were all sharp. Y'all remember Mickey Fitzgerald? I'm just trying to think of early Tech players. I think he was 88, right? Was Mickey Fitzgerald 88? I think he was. I used to love that dude. That dude could play. Oh, wow. Look at this. So, I got a picture here. Charlie Coffey, when he was the coach, previously he's been at Tennessee, got the old end zones at law. Y'all gonna get some feels now. Look at this. Wow. Baseball field in behind. Look at this early Lane Stadium shot. Can y'all see that at all? Look at that. I'm going to get these downloaded and I'm going to put them on so I can call them up so you can see them. Oh, my goodness gracious. That's cool, man. Yeah, that's the way I remember it growing up right there. Thank you so much. That's awesome. The woods right in behind. That's where we would go in. Look at that. That is cool, man. That's really, really cool. Fall of the year, leaves changing. Perfect. Yeah, perfect temp. The sun was out, but it was breezy. You didn't bother. The sun never bothered you. Yeah, Victory Stadium you're always excited about playing in Victory Stadium, man. It was always a big game in Victory Stadium. The Incredible Hulk, Mickey Fitzgerald. There we go. Tight end fullback, number 88. Thank you. Yes. Dude was a baller, man. Well, maybe he did, Andrew. I don't know. Maybe freshman year, maybe Bruce did wear 79. Could be. I don't know. You might be right. 93. Lots. That's maroon, though. It looks orange. So I got a schedule here from Tech in 93. You got a lot more orange. But that's okay. Got the stripe on the pant, which I love. Look at that. Can y'all see that? I'm going to put all these on here at some point. I don't have time today. Tell you what, after Christmas, I'll have all these on for Friday's show. All right, Tech trivia fans. Which quarterback was number 12 in 1993? Who was number 12? Was that DeShazo? No. That's number 12. His center was number 73. Fullback was number 19. The tailback was number 4. That's DeShazo, right? Maurice was number 12. That's Maurice DeShazo. Now, who was 73? Is that Jim Pine? Who was DeShazo's tailback, number 4? Was that the kid from EC Glass? No, it's not Drunk. Drunk was 16. Here you go. I'm going to blow it up. There you go. That's cool. It was DeShazo. Kendrick, thank you. Jason. And that was Jim Pine. I thought that was Pine. Wow, that's not a bad trio to line up. Pine, DeShazo, and Andre Kendrick. That didn't suck. Yeah, those are nice. Those are nice. I like that. We need the stripe back on the pant. Tech had such cool stripes. That one was encompassed. That was the maroon and orange stripe. So in that picture, they have the maroon pant on. What the hell did I do with it? They had the maroon pant on. Where did it go? I just had it. They had the maroon pant on. They had white piping on the outside, orange in the middle, so it would stand out on the maroon. Jim Pine, DeShazone Kenner. I don't know who that fullback was, number 19. Somebody look that up. Who was the fullback, number 19? Or maybe he was just lined up as a fullback. Mickey was also a hilltopper, really? Okay. Oh, okay. Someone's saying, yeah, Kendrick was in 99. People think that may have been, was Von Hembron, but Von Hembron played for the Broncos on their Super Bowl team. So he wouldn't have been that early. Von Hebron, yeah, he was on the Broncos Super Bowl team in 2015. Hebron left in 90. Was he that old? Wait a minute, who am I thinking? No, wait a minute. Maybe he wasn't that old. When did Von Hebron play? No, you know what? You're right. You're right. No, you're right. It was Von Hebron. He played on the Broncos 97 and 98 Super Bowl team. So that is right. That fits the timeline. Thank you. Yes. So that was, well, if this is 93, though, that can't be Von Hebron. Because Wayne says Hebron left in 92. Yeah, those are nice, too. Wayne sent a picture against Indiana. I'm just afraid people can't see those as well as I would hope. Yeah, I'm going to get them on. I'll download them. I'll get them downloaded. These are great. These are great. Tex had some great uniforms. Great uniforms. Everybody's got great memory, too. These old teams. It's great. Hebron played at Tech from 90 to 92. Yeah, the photo could be from 92 since it was a 93 schedule thing, yeah. And then Hebron was a kick returner and backup running back for those Bronco Super Bowl teams under Mike Shanahan. As a matter of fact, he had to come in 97. It was January of 98 Super Bowl when Terrell Davis went out with the migraines. Von Hebron had to take over as the primary ball carrier for John Elway in that second quarter. Yeah. Von Hebron. Great name. Great name. Phil Elmassian and Todd Grantham coming up a little later on. Gary Tranquil, the offensive coordinator. Gary was hard to look at. Was he? I don't remember. I could dial up a play. In what year did Roth and Burnett broadcast together for the first time? Well, Mike's been doing it for 43 years. I think he was doing it with Jeff Charles, God rest his soul. I would guess 88 or 89, right? Somewhere in the late 80s. I do remember that. So there we go. Well, there you go. Wayne, 1987. That was close. 1987, first year. One year before Wayne got to Tech. Very cool. Very cool. I'm loving these old pictures, man. Man, I love those uniforms. That'd be a great, just subtle throwback day, wouldn't it? Wear the old Cyrus Lawrence uniform. They won't, but that looked cool, except the morons at ESPN would start calling them Va Tech all over again. Remember that crap? Tech finally put a stop to it. Va Tech. God. In no world was it ever okay to refer to Virginia Tech as Va Tech. My Lord. They all thought they were cool. Well, watch out for Va Tech. Shut the hell up. No one in Blacksburg has ever referred to them as Va-Tech. No one asked for that. Ugh. It was, but that, it's the Virginia. They could never wear them because people would say, oh, there it is again, Va-Tech. That's Gary Tranquil? Really? Morris sent a picture of Gary Tranquil. Watch out, ladies. Oh, yeah. You might not like that bald head, but man, that guy can diagram some plays for you. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my. Oh, no. Oh, no. That was out of nowhere. Oh!
Every time Gary Tranquil came on the field, he just had. Oh, yeah. Tranquil. Watch out. Sorry. It's Christmas week. We can have all sorts of fun. Va-Tech was another. Yeah, exactly. Correct. God, it was so annoying. And they all jumped on it like it was going to create some kind of buzz. Tech finally said, enough's enough. Stop with the insanity. Don't call us something we don't call ourselves. Thanks for the Gary Tranquil picks. Now I'm getting multiple. I don't need multiple Gary Tranquil picks. You're right. I like when kids commit to Virginia Tech University. Wouldn't it be great to see, like, say, for instance, if, let's say James Franklin's a 5-star guy and he's sitting there at the table. I'd like to announce today that my commitment is to VPI. If he just somehow did his research and called them VPI. Wouldn't that be great? How many people would be sitting there going, What? That'd be awesome. Just awesome. Do I know the spread of the next round of games? Let me check. I'm sure it's out. My goodness gracious. It's ESPN, right? They're going yes, here we go. So on New Year's Eve, Wednesday night, Miami, Ohio State. We got to wait till New Year. We got to wait that long? There's no games this weekend? Losers. Ohio State's 9.5-point favorites over Miami. Oregon, 1.5-point favorites. That's the Orange Bowl over Texas Tech. The Cotton Bowl is the Miami-Ohio State game. The Rose Bowl is Alabama and Indiana. Indiana is 7-point favorites. And in the Sugar Bowl, Ole Miss and Georgia, UGA is 6.5-point favorites. So Georgia, Indiana, Oregon, barely, and OSU favorites. I didn't think any of the games were very good. Now, I didn't get to watch Miami, Texas A&M. I was keeping up with it. And I really wanted Miami to win. I'm glad they did. Congratulations, Miami fans. But I wasn't really that. I mean, I didn't think Oklahoma, Alabama was a great game. Oklahoma had raced out to the big lead. It was okay. Then all the games on Saturday were very underwhelming, right? What's up, Jim McAllister? Ricky Hendricks was a big dude for Dublin back in the day. The Dublin Dukes, Ricky Hendricks. Those light blue jerseys and those silver helmets. I grew up going to Dublin Dukes games with my dad. The old New River District. Dorian was 6'6". Really? Good Lord. Yeah, Reed did look bad for the Aggies. The Aggies didn't look like they cared. At home, too. The downside is that the Miami fans like Frankie now claim to be back. That's right. Frankie's the big Canes fan. Hey, you know what? They might be back. Who knows? They might be back. Thanks to all of our wonderful, wonderful sponsors, by the way. Appreciate them greatly. Family Fencing, great logo by Jason. Look at that. They're going to work through the winter. These are great because they cover up my face. National Bank, member FDIC, thanks to Larry Ramsey. Oh, I love this. Look at this. No Rick. Professional Door Incorporated, thanks to them. Pulaski County, title sponsor. Look at that. Experience Pulaski County. Thank you all so much. And there's our T-shirts. If you want any T-shirts, they look great. I love the shots of people wearing them. I get shots all the time. People seeing them out in public. That's great. Ready, Set Fund. There you go. Bob Chris. That's the logo you look for if you want to try to raise some money. And here's Balboa Creed. He's healing. He doesn't look like that now. Those little surgery scars are going away, man. Guy's coming back. He's about ready to go out and kick some ass. Watch out, nature. That guy's getting ready to come back. See right there? He's getting ready. He's thinking about it. He's almost healed up. He's ready for the next game. The Miami win gets us that much closer to chaos in Blacksburg. I'm so glad they won. All the crap about the ACC, and they get the big dub. That's awesome. Jamie and Chesney didn't embarrass too bad. No, they put up a lot of offense, but they couldn't stop them, man. They didn't see that kind of speed. But they did play hard. You know, they didn't give up. 34 points on that team, but the game was never really competitive. But yeah, kudos to them though. They put up some really good offensive numbers. The VT talk is great, but we all know that it was the construction of the roundabout that finally put Blacksburg on the map. Oh, there's no question. No question. Roundabout and salamanders. Yeah, Creed is now probable for this week's game. Yeah, he's moved up to probable. He's ready to go now. He's jumping again. Very happy with the way that turned out. That's the second time I've had to operate on the dude. Yeah, Miami scored 10 points. So you guys tell me. I didn't get to watch it. I was out doing some shopping with the fiance. Was that game any good? Like, was it – tell me. I don't know. Was it a good defensive game or was it mistakes? I know it was windy. When I saw 10-3 and I saw the highlights, I'm like, so what was it about Miami, Texas A&M? That surprised me. How was there only 10-3 in that game? I mean, I can handle a really well-played defensive game. That doesn't bother me. I don't need 78 points to be scored. But was it just bad football or was it, I love the run scheme for Jamie. Yeah, he's going to take that to UCLA with him. All the counters, misdirection. I want to see what is going to happen with Chesney and the recruiting at UCLA. It's going to be interesting. SEC fans were like, congrats, Miami. You beat our fourth-place team. Wayne then says, hey, well, Miami was ACC third-place team, so SEC is a bit misguided. So one SEC team we knew was going to lose because Alabama played Oklahoma. So you have two SEC teams out. Miami missed 2 field goals. Okay. I did hear it was very windy during that game. Morris says it was a defensive struggle. Miami came through in the end. I saw the interception. Bad throw there at the end by A&M. Yeah, it was weird. I was really pulling for him, man. You know, when Oklahoma missed that field goal, it was in the drop punt. Like, I got so sick of hearing about all the stuff about the ACC. It felt like you pulling for Miami like you would for Tech. I was just like, they're representing the whole thing. I'm so glad they won. Just shut up. I'm so tired of the SEC. Look, I know their place. I get it. But, man, I hate the whole ESPN Disney marriage. I hate the constant just self-promotion. Oh, A&M missed 3 or 4 field goals. Wow. So we had like 6 missed kicks in that game? Whoa. Probably because of that wind, right? Tech and Blacksburg had issues with possibly losing protected salamanders around Lane, really, when doing some buildings years ago. Oh, okay. Aggies, hey, what's up, Zach? Aggies missed a field goal also. Felt like the Aggies consistently moved the ball better than Miami, just could never score, and then Miami wore them down. Good. Okay, good stuff. They were all chip shots. Well, wasn't it very windy? I remember I text Grantham. I'm like, what the hell's going on? It's 3-3. He said, man, the wind is killer out there. I said, oh, okay. It was easier to pull from Miami than UVA. I'll tell you that, Brian says. Well, it worked out great, right? Tech fan, UVA lost, and now Miami's in there, and I get it. But, you know, the Miami Tech rivalry is the quintessential rivalry from the Big East into the ACC. So, in a way, they're representing Tech. Does that help? Maybe not. Maybe that doesn't work. Well, I'm glad they won. Can they beat Ohio State? Yeah, Ohio State's really good. We'll see. Underwhelming, the vibe around the college football playoff right now. I hate what I'm seeing. Everybody's so down on the G5s and the underdog. And, you know, I understand. You can't recreate the underdog in what is a limited field in the college football playoff like we enjoy in the NCAA basketball tournament, which is highlighted and made the NCAA basketball tournament the best sporting event that we have. Because, you know, it's 68 teams, and you get a hot team, and they're shooting well, and they go on a roll in the tournament. It's so much fun to follow their story. But you can't do that in football. You can't do that with the setup. Right now it's just 12 teams. I think it'll max out at 16 teams. And you want to be able to have an underdog come through. I don't know if there's ever going to be a team out of the G5 that can go on a big run like that, because it's different in football. And you could see the talent differential, the Oregon offense against the JMU defense. So Yeah. But I hate to see the diatribe. Now people are trying to say JMU and Tulane never belong. They should never get a chance. Now you can make the argument maybe they don't belong, but now they're saying those schools could never get a chance. Do you want to watch? It's the same argument I take into the tournament. You got Greg Sankey and all those bozos trying to make it into a 96-team tournament eventually and have every power conference have 8 teams or more. Do you want to see constant basketball games against the big boys, or do you want to see the Radfords and James Madisons who win their leagues have a shot, right? I don't know if every week, even in the college football playoff, I want to watch more SEC matchups. I wasn't excited at all for Alabama and Oklahoma. Hell, we saw it in the regular season. Yeah. Ole Miss plays Georgia. Another SEC Saturday. Overhyped. I don't know. Yeah, I think they did, Andrew. Yeah, Oregon got crushed. But, yeah, look at some of the Power 4 scores in the playoff. Correct. I'm glad you're bringing that up. This isn't just a G5 thing. Oh, Andrew, you're Prometheus. That's right. What's up, bringer of fire? I forgot. Georgia's going to kill Ole Miss, Randy Duffy says. They might. They've been real well rested. Kirby's had time to draw some stuff up. And I don't like the setup either. I know there's nothing they can do about it, but a lot of these teams have a lot of time off, man. A lot of time off. Kiffin already doing hot yoga with LSU cheerleaders. Is he really? Hey, look, that dude at some point, if they win a natty in his first couple of years, that dude could run for governor. He might replace the governor down there. Yeah, it's true, Randy. Time off can be good. You get well rested, you get healed up, but you got to try to stay sharp. It's very difficult. I run into it the last 2 games with Radford basketball. So last Thursday we played William and Mary, and Coach Earl was very concerned. They had 12 days off. They'd been playing, didn't like it, and they were sluggish in the first half. They got their legs under them and went off in the second half. Now, VMI, it was different because it's a different type of experience, obviously, at VMI. Had a great time talking with Andrew Wilson, the head coach, yesterday. What a great dude. And they're playing without their best player, the preseason SoCon player of the year, Ricky Bradley. They hope to get him back for conference. VMI has never had a preseason conference player of the year until this year, and he wasn't available yesterday. And Radford hung on to win. 97-90. Randy's a Vols fan. Welcome, Randy. Please subscribe and like the channel. Spread the word. Good stuff. But VMI had 12 days off too. So Radford played back-to-back teams with 12 days off. But Andrew Wilson was very grateful for it because they had gone through 11 games in November, the things they go through off of the playing fields. He said our guys needed that. They needed to have only 3 games in December. So he enjoyed the time off. He could just practice and guys could get some rest. Thanks, Randy. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man. Tell your friends, tell them it's free, and they might have some fun if they stop by at some point. Eventually, we'd like to hit 1,000, and then you're in the comfort zone of YouTube. In other words, they will give you your flowers. So we're getting there. I never thought, to be honest, I never really thought after 4 months we would be where we are. Where are we now? 763. Very cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody. Yeah, I saw that, Tebow. And you know what? That seems to have some legs, by the way. Joseph, Notre Dame guy. Yeah, Coach Wilson's done a good job. He has. It's tough to coach at VMI, man. Basketball. We know in football. By the way, Brian Seinspring, let's get him a VMI job. Getting back to Tebow's comment, rumors out there that Marcus Freeman will be the Giants' new head coach. That seems to have some legs, man. We'll ask Grantham about that. How's that? Randy says, time off, you worry about being rusty. I hope Georgia doesn't have that. Yeah, you know what? Before we get in, Coach Elmassian is going to join us here in just a second. And I'm glad you brought that up for me. Okay, so Tech played Elon, and I'm going to go against what I've heard. All right. So Tech struggled against Elon. They were down 3 starters. Around the holidays, when you're playing a mid-major, this isn't an excuse, but those guys aren't real motivated to play Elon. So Elon comes in. That's a big, big, big game for them, and they were sharp, and they had built up a big lead. And Tech didn't have 3 starters, and they came back, still found a way to win. I think that's a really nice win. They won in overtime again. This Tech team's shown they're very good in overtime. And I had nothing yesterday. People kept saying, oh, Tech can't be very good. I'm like, I don't think that's not what that meant at all. I think if anything, it shows you they are good. I don't look at that. Elon's not bad. Don't just think any team in basketball that's a mid-major can't play when they're motivated and shooting the ball well. Elon's got some talent. They were well coached. And Tech was down a lot of players. What's up, Erica? Yeah, it was a 19-point game. That's a good win, man. I'm going to take the opposite. If I've talked to enough coaches, man, and Radford's won games like that, and it does. I think if anything, it shows you Mike Young's got a team this year. I'm going to go the other way on that. I was shooting people down left and right yesterday. Tech can't be very good. No. If they'd have gotten boat raced by 19, if they never would have come back, then you could make that comment maybe. But I think it showed a hell of a lot. I really do. So I'm going to go the opposite. I think that shows you the depth that he's built. Elon's not a pushover. You may not know them. We play him a lot at Radford. That's a good program. So I'm going to give Mike Young some flowers for that now. This is one thing. I've been calling college basketball for 31 years and ACC and now Big South. That's a win that any coach is going to look at and go, that's a nice, that's a good win, man. So that shows you Virginia Tech I think it shows you they're real. That isn't, I don't know if they're going to step up to be the level of Duke and Louisville, and UVA is really good, but they're an NCAA team, man. There's no question. Well, this guy's always part of our all-tournament team. Coach, what's up, Coach? Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, man.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you, Rick.
What'd you think of the playoffs week 1? They were kind of underwhelming. What were some of your thoughts? I know you were watching all the games.
I did. I got a chance to see most all of them. And before I start with that, I don't know how you got – I talked to Burnham the other day. And I don't know how you two guys do it, the travel. I know you went to William and Mary, and I'm saying, how's he going to do the show the next day? What time did you said you got in at 5 a.m? It
was about 3 a.m. I laid down about 3 a.m. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I don't know how you guys do it. You said you've been doing it for 31 years.
Yeah, I started out over at Virginia Tech, actually, with Bill Roth. Bill Roth hired me many years ago over at Tech. I did Tech women's basketball, and Bonnie Hendrickson was the head coach. I filled in and did some men's games when Bill would be traveling with football. And then the Radford job came open, my alma mater, and I've been there since. So, 31 years calling games.
It's like coaching. You measure it in dog years.
Exactly.
He said, I did 40 years, but times 7.
Yeah, that's right.
Hours are right. Hey, texting you during the game. I got to watch William Mary a couple of times on TV. Haven't gone to school there, and
they're good.
I love their basketball coach.
Oh, I do too. He won't be there long, and I mean that in a good. I mean that in a good way. Yeah. He'll be a power coach in 2 years. There's no question about it.
I don't know. I'm not a basketball aficionado, and golf. They're both the same to me, but I do know what good coaching is when it's all said and done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what he does with those players, you're not right. Am I right or wrong on this one? I mean, pressing from end line to end line, as I would call it, and just the running. That they're not supposed to do this stuff.
I know. They're deep too. They're deep. I mean, he can go 12 deep on that team. Yeah. They're going to be a problem in that league. CAA, you better watch out for William & Mary. They're going to be a problem for teams in that league. Yeah.
Yeah, I was impressed with them. And, the playoffs were, it's like we talked before the last Monday, the game that I was the most excited about was the Miami A&M game. And for me as a defensive coach, it did not disappoint.
Yeah, I bet so. Yeah.
People get wrapped up, it was a bad game, because they're not scoring a lot of points.
Right.
Hold on. There was some, you got Elko calling the defenses, the head coach, who's an outstanding defensive coordinator at every place he's ever been. They've been the top defenses in the country. And then you got Miami talent-wise. I've coached against the 83 Miami team that won a national championship. And then when I was at Syracuse and Virginia Tech, for three out of the 4 years, the great Miami teams, the great ones on defense, Warren Sapp and that crew. And their defensive front, to say they're back, we'll find out at the end of the year. But, boy, I'll tell you, their defensive front, Texas A&M, whose offensive line was very heralded. When you get to those, there's about 6, 7, 8 schools. I think Todd will verify this for you. But there's only a handful of schools that what separates all of them is the offensive line talents. For all of a sudden you look at the end zone copy, Rick. You take JMU's end zone copy from an offensive standpoint, and you take whether it's Oregon, Alabama, the butts. It's hash mark to hash mark.
I know.
With normal splits. These are large human beings that can run and pull. Yeah. So, and that's what separates them. But the Miami Texas A&M game was the best of all the games. And I always thought, because the others were rerun movies.
I know.
Outside of JMU, but it was just rerun movies. So, I felt like I had to watch them. Not that I wanted to watch them.
Yeah, I know.
But you look at Miami they had 9 TFLs. And
they're
6
so
sacks.
good up front. They're so good up front, aren't they?
1 out of every 4 plays. This is Texas A&M now. This is as good an offensive line. After a while, you look at Alabama, you look at A&M, you start looking at these guys, Ohio State. You could flop uniforms at offensive line and not tell the difference.
Yeah.
You could change kids.
That's right. Yeah, you could.
They're all the same. That's the key to the drill today is the 2 positions, quarterback and O-line. If you're an offensive line, you want to be an offensive lineman in high school because you're going to get paid a lot of money. That's one position now that from a college standpoint, the portal and the NIL, that's what, and even you can be a backup and make a lot of money, the third tackle or the third guard. But it was a great one thing that I thought was really interesting. And like I said, my evaluating a team after the game, doing the Greg show and coming on with you, I never get wrapped up in the rushing stats because they're so skewed.
Yeah.
Because the NFL statistics, Coach Saban, when we were at LSU, we did the NFL way of measuring stats where if a quarterback got a sack, it went against the passing stats.
Yeah, right.
So the rush stats in college game are very skewed. When you look at, he only got 50 yards rushing or 30 yards rushing, that's not necessarily because of the defense. It's because the sacks are measured in with that. So, but the thing that really blew my mind, the teams that won, a lot of them lost the third down battle. They lost the rushing attempt battle. And rushing attempts, to me, have always been a key figure of not necessarily time of possession, but ball control and physicality. By the fourth quarter, if you got 40-plus rushing attempts, you're looking at a physical beatdown. And like Alabama only had 25 rushing attempts, as opposed to Oklahoma with 41. And Alabama wins the game. And, it came down to the block punt and the pick six.
Yep.
I can't remember, but that game, Rick, reminded me of my 40 years of coaching. Anytime we had either a pick six for a touchdown or a blocked punt, we won the game.
Yeah.
One of the
changes everything.
We won the game. And I specifically can remember certain games that did happen. Like Purdue, we're playing Purdue and it's set with Drew Brees at 17-17 in about the middle of the third quarter. And the corner that I had coached, Jamar Fletcher, he threw one ball to the big field, one time to the big field and out, a hitch. And he picked that sucker off and went 50-plus yards and broke the game open. We beat them 34-20-something. But interceptions, there's nothing that changes momentum in a game and more demoralizing to the opponent than a pick six for a touchdown or a block punt. And so Alabama's got two of them, and next thing you know, it's 24 unanswered points and the momentum just switched and Oklahoma never got it back. But, between the rushing and the third down efficiencies, Alabama's 2 for 12 on third down. There's a lot of factors that go into the third down efficiencies, but let me tell you, I've never seen a team win a game with 2 out of 12 third down efficiency.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's you say, well, and I thought towards the middle of the year as Alabama started their run, I mentioned on Greg's show, I said, it's going to be Ohio State and Alabama for the national championship. That's what I projected after watching both teams throughout the year. But, when I look at that third down efficiency, they start getting into, and they're going to play Indiana. If they have that third down efficiency against Indiana, they're losing that game.
They're not going to win the game, right?
They're not going to win the game. They're not going to win that game rushing it. And their Achilles heels is for whatever reasons, whether it's by coaching choice, and I'm sure Todd could probably give you much better information than I can. I'm not a coach anymore. I'm a part of the radio shows and YouTube shows like you. I'm just a fan now. But watching that, I don't know if Alabama's choice to not run the ball or whether their offensive line is not good enough to run the ball, but that's been an Achilles heel for them. And when they start getting into that, and I know they've been in the SEC and all that, but this is a 3-loss team that's going into the playoffs, and it's because of their inefficiencies to consistently run the football, I think. So if they go, I don't know if Alabama. I would pick Indiana over Alabama just unless they can fix those two things. And the other teams were the same way. Ole Miss was 3 of 10 on third down. Okay. And I don't know if that's the quarterback. Like I said, a lot of factors get involved in that, but that's not good enough. That's 30%. You got to be 45% on offense.
They can't beat Georgia like that, can they?
No. Oh, heck no. Oh, no. I mean, so those are the things I start looking at. Now, could those things flip? Oh, heck yeah. Georgia could play at their worst. Ole Miss could play at their best, and they'd have a chance to win the game. But when I look at the things that really do rushing attempts, third downs, and turnovers that really, truly affect outcomes of games consistently, most of the winning teams lost the turnover battle, lost the third down battle, and lost the rush attempt battle in the first part of the series. So when you say, the first, like I said, 3 out of 4 games, I wasn't very interested in it. And these statistics bore it out that they're really, they're turning it over and still winning, or they're not winning the third down. And so the Miami A&M was my favorite game of the weekend.
So we had Tulane and JMU. Neither one really were ever in those games, and everybody's pounding that drum even louder today that those schools should not get a chance going forward. How did you see that, and do you agree with that line of thinking? I mean, JMU did a lot of things offensively very well. They were over 500 yards, but they had no answer on defense. That's got to be so frustrating for any defense, no matter what level you play, to be able to go out there and know you're never going to stop the team you're playing unless you're able to get a turnover, unless they hurt themselves.
Yeah, you scored 34 points in the first half. You take the first five times Oregon touches the ball, they're scoring.
Yeah.
But then, for JMU's credit, they came back and put 24 points, 28.
Yeah, 28. Second half. Yeah.
So, that was a very admirable effort, and that didn't surprise me. But then again, is Oregon strong enough defensively to carry through to the last one? So that's another team that, I think JMU exposed them a little bit because, Rick, when it's all said and done, the argument of Group of Five and Power Four comes down to one position or two positions, one offensive lineman. It's not even close. And here's the thing, when you're in the Group of Five, if you're in the Sun Belt, and I've coached in the Sun Belt, I've coached in the MAC, and like even at Marshall, we had Byron Leftwich at Marshall, and our offensive line was average compared to Miami of Ohio. Toledo they were like a Power Four offensive line back in that early 2000s. They were 6'6", 6'5", 230, 300 plus pounds.
Right.
Our offensive line was average, but we had Byron Leftwich. So we can go 10-1 and beat Louisville in the GMAC Bowl and beat their butt. We had Byron Leftwich.
Yeah.
So if you're in the Group of Five and you got a great quarterback, you can make an average offensive line become good enough. But then now you start playing big boy football, I don't care. Your offensive line, it's not fair. That's not a fair fight. When you start looking at, Oregon's, when you look at that, it's like watching hockey. I never watch the puck. I just watch the net. I want to see what's going on in front of the net. When I'm watching a football game, when that ball snaps, my eyes don't leave that offensive line.
Right.
Okay. I'm focused on the fronts and who's winning those battles and things of that nature. So I do think Notre Dame or Texas or BYU or Vanderbilt should have been in the tournament. I do believe that. They are better football teams. Could JMU beat Vandy? Could JMU beat Notre Dame? Who knows? But I know this. If it's just an inside drill, a 7-on-7 drill, they're losing.
Right.
Every game. Okay? They're losing every game because they cannot hold up with that offensive line talent that the Power Fours have when you get to this point in time in the tournament, as you call it, the tournament. Because that's what Nick, when we were at LSU, that's the first thing Nick did. Nick changed college football.
Yeah, absolutely.
He took an NFL approach when we got to LSU, and I think the same said about Michigan State. But when we got to LSU, again, we signed Andrew Whitworth, 6'6", 320-pound tight end that we make an offensive tackle. I mean, our offensive line, by the time those kids ended up playing at the national championship game 3 years later, it was from that class. And let me tell you, it was some monsters. And he did the same thing at Alabama.
Yeah.
So that's when they talk about the Group of Five, the percentages, this is not St. Mary's playing Carolina and you have a chance to win the game.
Right.
And you're not going to get it in college football. So, me, I just believe after a while the Group of Five has to have their own national championship. And I think that'd be fair for the players and fair for the coaches and best. I really do believe that. Why not? ESPN's looking for content. Get the Group of Five to have their playoffs, and it used to be, remember, 1A, 1AA, and then the Division III schools. Well, okay, let's go now. Power 4, they got a national championship. Group of 5 has a national championship. 1 AA, and it'll satisfy the NCAA because now everyone gets a trophy. Okay. Here's the thing about it, Rick, too, that I hate about the championship games. Back in the day, which I always felt was good, you could end your season with a win, which is huge, going to the bowls. Whether it's Virginia Tech or UVA, and all of a sudden you're in the Citrus Bowl or you're in the Peach Bowl and you win a game, and boy, you talk about going into the off season with a positive attitude. You've won at least 8 or more games, and you're finishing your year with a win. Now, if you're in the Power 4, okay, before it's over with, if you are a champion or top in your conference, you're going to end your season with a loss.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
So there's only one winner.
There's only one. Yeah.
And let me tell you what, it could go both ways. The loss could catapult you into a great off season with the motivations. The win could catapult your season with a relief type syndrome and satisfied. As champions very rarely repeat, as even in the Super Bowl with the NFL. So that's the only thing that I've always felt that you talk about professional NFL attitude towards college football. Your Power 4 seed, you're ending your season in a loss after the championship games.
Yeah, that's true.
And what was wrong with everybody saying we're number one? Back when they voted for it, what was wrong with someone, whether it's Southern Cal or Notre Dame or whatever, and hey, we're number one. Okay?
We're number one.
Yeah. So, I always thought that's really diminished college footballs to a point.
What else other than offensive line separates, in your eyes, those teams, Coach, when you watch like Oregon
the quarterback? It's interesting. You look at JMU's quarterback, and JMU, he'll be taking quite a few players to UCLA unless they don't want to go to California because the NIL and the taxes.
That's true.
Don't forget, you want to play in the South in the NIL because you want to play in Florida or Alabama.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in California or New York paying your taxes, But the quarterback's position also, and D line also another area. Those things are it's night and day, not even close. But the quarterback's position, I will say, you look at JMU, you look at Tulane. There's some Power 4 teams would love to have those two quarterbacks.
I know. You can plug them in behind those offensive lines you're talking about and those other skill players, and they're going to fit in very nicely. Yep.
Exactly. I mean, you look at some of these guys. I mean, you look at Carson, the Beck kid, he just blows my mind. His record, it's hard to bet against his record. But his record's like he's 35-4. He's only lost
something crazy. Yeah.
But you know what, to me, though, still, he's good enough to win a game. He's good enough to lose a game. But you look at, they say, oh, he's got a great record. Yeah, no kidding. So did the team that he plays on, Miami and Georgia. It's hard to have a bad record.
That's true. That's very true.
You're a quarterback in those two teams. So but that's the one thing, usually you say, wow, the quarterback was the biggest difference. Not really. Just the big difference was the lines of scrimmages. There's not one offensive lineman at JMU. Maybe not. That all of a sudden Oregon's going to go, boy, let's go get this guy in the ball. And if it is, it's going to be for depth. But they probably would like to say, hey, we'd like to have that quarterback. And some, the receivers, nobody has bad receivers. Even when we played Temple, when they were awful, they had good receivers. And sometimes, you got a good running back, and I know I'd like to believe Todd will support me on what I see.
Yeah.
The offensive line. That's what separates them all.
Well, people are talking about the cornerbacks, the way they have to, it may not even be the cornerbacks themselves, but the way, and you can talk about this, Coach, you were a defensive backs coach. You have to play differently. They have to give more space. And I know Jamie was respecting those Oregon receivers. There was a lot of open grass in front of those guys, whether they were catching the ball in front or behind,
Here's what you got to be able to do. You can't, if I'm the DB coach at JMU, whatever we've been doing during the season, we're not changing. If I'm going to get beat 150, 7-6, 54 to whatever, what's the difference? You lost a game.
Well, that's right.
Who cares? Really, 1 point, 20 points, 30 points. We were playing when I was at Syracuse in '92. We had an excellent football team. We'd beaten Texas during the season. We lost to Ohio State, beat Texas. We had an outstanding football team. Ended up beating Colorado in the Fiesta Bowl when they were really, really good. Well, we're playing Miami with Gino Toretto. They're number one in the country. And we're playing Miami, and Paul Pasqualoni is not. I was a big man guy, especially on third down, especially on the third down and mediums, because it's always you got to make decisions, and your decisions is you either affect the quarterback with a rush or affect receivers with disruptions, and because you got to take the timing away from them. As you say, if a quarterback goes back to his spot, receiver goes to his spot. They're so good, especially today, they're blindfolded and it's completions. So you got to do one of the two things to get a disruption. And if you got a great 4-man rush or a 5-man pressure, great. Maybe you got to create that with the 6-man pressures and attacking the protections.
Right.
Okay. But either way, so we're going to go play Miami, and they got great wideouts, great speed, great wideouts. Their offensive line, Cristobal was a offensive guard or a tackle, as a matter of fact, on the team. And they were okay. Their offensive line they had such great skilled people. That was one of their deficiencies, was their O-line. And this during the Big East days. So Paul Pasqualoni comes to me, he goes, hey, we're not playing press coverage against these guys. And we've been pressing most of the year. And I had a corner named Dwayne Josephs, who was played in the NFL for 3 or 4 years. Not very fast, 4'6" kid. But I said, Paul, if we tell these kids we're not pressing, this game's lost before it begins. We can't tell them that. We've got to do what we do. And we do this well enough. And we went in and we lost to him 16-14. It was a hell of a game. We held them to the lowest yards of total offense, and we beat them. They won the game, and they ended up playing Alabama in that national championship game. That Alabama ended up beating them. But so if you're at JM, you got to go in and do it. Now, if that's what they've done all year, play off and give what we call free access on throws. Boy, let me tell you, you better have a great rush. Because if you got an average corner and a really, really good wideout, you want to press this guy. Because every year in the season, every wide receiver coach that I've ever, and there's been a lot of them because I've had different jobs, the first thing they want to know, when are you putting press coverage in? When are you putting press in? And why do they ask that? Because they got to work now.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the talent gets a little diminished because now it's about technique. They got to get off it. I don't care how bad the corner is. They have to have a plan to get off that because it's all about the first 5 yards in the down. It's not your talent. We always would sell to the DBs. It's not your talent versus his in the first 5 yards of the down. It's your technique versus his technique. And you got to win that first 5 yards of the down. And there's only 2 passes that you're going to earn your scholarship on playing press coverage. And only 2. Fades and slants. One of 3 things are either broken up, incomplete, or interfered with because it's only a 10-yard game. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares? It's like basketball, Rick. Let's see how they're going to call this game. And you be aggressive. Don't be foolish. Out technique them because it's all about your eyes and your feet. Matter of fact, when I would do press coverage, I use the old Bobby Knight. I watched Bobby Knight's half court man-to-man teaching. Well, the kids had to play with their hands behind their backs. He made literally every drill, and when he got to a half court situation where he was emphasizing this man coverage, their hands would be behind their backs. Because sometimes when the hands go out in front of the body, the feet aren't moving as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So that's how I used to teach press coverage a lot of times. Even in one-on-ones, I would make them put their hands behind the back because it was all about your foot speed and the second step. So, but it's a great equalizer. And if you've got great technique, a kid with, enough talent with great technique, it is a great – if Herman Moore, for example, at Virginia, you want to press – the taller the receiver, you want to press him. Plaxico Burress, 6'6", 220 pounds. Michigan State, my 5'10" corner, he beat his ass. I mean, he literally made him quit in the fourth quarter. And I know that for a fact because one of my former coaches was with him in Pittsburgh. And he even said, he goes, that's the toughest game I ever played, toughest player I ever played against. So, I don't know. Sorry to go.
I think about
into the coaching mode, Rick.
That's all right. No, I think about you a lot because you may have been you that mentioned it, Coach, but I see it all the time. I'm looking for it all the time now. You have to just be irate of how much space cornerbacks are playing off of these receivers.
Yeah.
And it's an easy 4 or 5 yards every time if they want to throw in front. Then they're going to juke them, and maybe they take it to distance. I mean, guys are so afraid, aren't they, of getting beat deep that it's crazy. And it's at every level. I noticed it all day yesterday. And then I'm like, look at that. He's just throw the ball in front of him. You're going to get a great gain on first down,
Well, the difference in the NFL quarterbacks is just where they can place that ball where as a defender, you can't get it.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, I've seen throws. All of a sudden, they're putting the ball. Receivers running down the field, and they're going to put the ball on the outside shoulder, away from the DB. Things of that nature. It just blows my mind from that perspective. But you know what? The key to a good DB play, Rick, is it's about because they're going to catch the ball. I mean, if you're going to play off, they're going to catch the ball. So the most important stat I would keep was yards after the catch. If you hold people to 3 yards or less yards after the catch, I don't care what they do. They don't give points for catching the ball. Okay? It doesn't count till it crosses the last stripe. All right? And if you're good in the red zone because the field shrinks, use your 12th man as the end line, you become an advantage. Look at all the field goals it ends up. They'll move the ball all the way down and now they kick a field goal.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. Now, I get the 12th man to the end line. But, from the standpoint of so we played Purdue with Drew Brees. The first year we played Drew Brees, he threw it 89 times. There were 89 passing attempts. 89. They had no shame. Completed 50-something for 400 plus yards. It was an unbelievable game. It was a night game. It was in Wisconsin. It was away. It was my first time coaching against him. And but out of the 56 attempts, there was only 3 yards. It was like 2.9 yards after the catch. So, and we won the game. And that's the key to the drill. You're tackling and missing a tackle. Here's when I get really upset, and this was a Coach Holtz thing. You keep that ball on your inside shoulder. You got one help to the outside, and that's a sideline, and it doesn't move. It's never missed a tackle. The sidelines have never missed a tackle.
No, they're undefeated. Right.
Okay? Undefeated. But here's the deal. You got to miss to where your help is. Like a lot of times when I took off missed tackles, if a kid misses a tackle and he's immediately brought down for no more than 2 yards in the pursuit, I gave him an assist. I said, hey, that's a great – if you ever miss a tackle, your help is to your inside. You got 10 other guys busting their butt. If you miss a tackle and he goes to the outside, here's the problem. Now you're 10 guys who are counting on you to funnel it back inside, make the tackle or funnel it back inside. Now they got to change their angles. You keep doing that, Rick. It's like doing suicides in basketball. Start and stops. Well, you do that enough, you got a very tired football team in the fourth quarter. If you got a poor tackling football team, those plays are going from 3 to 4 seconds to 6 to 7 seconds. And you are, by the fourth quarter comes around, I don't care how much depth you have a physically exhausted football team. So that was the one thing I was very proud of all the places I've coached, tackling and understanding that there is such thing as proper misses. And that was one thing I learned from playing for Coach Holtz, let alone coaching with him.
Well, Coach, listen, it's great stuff as always. And trust me, the audience, like me, we love hearing the coach talk, man. We like getting inside and picking on it. It gives us a whole new perspective of when we're watching games and things that we can, okay, let's keep it. A coach mentioned this. Let's watch this. It's kind of cool, man.
I hate to do the clinics, getting on the clinic, but I can't. There's nobody I can talk to anymore. So you're
no, it's great.
This is not a good idea. Trust me.
No, trust me.
I gotta add one thing. You were going down memory lane with all the Virginia Tech.
Oh, it was so cool.
Pictures.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I grew up with that, because I started my coaching career in '73. That's when I started at William & Mary, and having played at William & Mary, playing against Virginia Tech. Bill Dooley doesn't get enough credit. He does not. And I get it, Frank Beamer, because I've coached with both of them. And it's sad, Bill had trouble counting the scholarships, The math failed him at Mississippi State.
Right.
All right. And he got in all sorts of trouble with the finances, which is counting, and the scholarships. But you know what, though? You look at the players. When he was at his last year at North Carolina, they lost to Nebraska in the Liberty Bowl. I think it was like a 3 or 4 point game, 21 to whatever. I think 17, I really think I'm accurate on this. 17 of his 22 starters at North Carolina were from the state of Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence Taylor, Buddy Curry, Kenny Sheets, famous Amos Lawrence. He was a freshman at that time. I could go on and on. Billy Johnson, from Buckingham County. This kid was a heavily recruited great player. He'd come in the state of Virginia and get every great player.
Yeah.
And when he got to Virginia Tech, you look at those people he brought to Virginia Tech from now Virginia. Jesse Penn from Martinsville. He was a great player.
Yep.
You're talking about Ashley Lee and Cyrus Lawrence from Southampton. If those guys were playing today, Anthony Poindexter and Ashley Lee, there's no whole lot of difference.
No. Cyrus Lawrence.
Talent standpoint.
Good Lord.
And then, by the way, Bruce Smith. You talk about recruiting and talent. It's not even, it is phenomenal what he did at Virginia Tech at the time with, keeping those kids in state, because they were leaving the state. But I thought you'd appreciate that.
No, that's great. That's great.
Hey,
Yeah.
I sent you an article. In 1972. You read it. Just when the show's over, read it.
I will.
My senior year, we played Virginia Tech in the old Tobacco Bowl. They had Don Strock and the great tight end Mike Burnham, and we beat them.
And you beat them. Okay. Yeah, I will. I'll check it out. Out.
Yeah, check that out. So, hey, appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, man, to you and your wife. You guys stay safe. Yeah. We'll see
you.
We'll be back next week, Coach. So you take care,
Grantham,
brother.
I said hello.
Yeah, I will. Great stuff, Coach Elmo. Yeah, that's a great idea, Prometheus. We'll do that. We'll get Coach. I'll ask him. He would do that in a heartbeat. So what we'll do is next year when Tech has a meaningful game that's on TV, we'll have like a Tech watch party or something and have Coach Elmo on with us. He'd love that, I would think. I love the coach stuff. He gets wrapped up in it, but man, it teaches us so much. I don't know about you. I love it, man. I absolutely love hearing all that stuff. Because we think we know things as fans and watching, but we don't. You talk to these coaches, you're like, oh, that's so cool. Thanks to Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio here in Ryder. Thanks so much, Jason Green. Hope you guys have a great Christmas and congrats on the great start. Family Fencing is just doing great, and thanks to you. McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hunley, thanks to him, over on Peppers Ferry Road. I still got to get over there and do the back cracking. I know I haven't done that yet. But we'll get all that done. Want to thank Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, the title sponsor of this program. We're going to be hitting on all their things, man. We're going to be picking up a lot of steam with them as we turn the calendar over here very soon. Charles Lee, Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Let them come and take care of all of your needs that you might have. The attorney Ryan Price, sponsor of our fan question of the week, and it's just going to be, hey, send me your favorite Christmas sports gift memories. That'll be our fan question of the week. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST, and my exclusive banking partner for 35 years. They're the best. As is Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated, sponsor of our text line. 38 years in business, garage doors better than anyone. They got so much business, they had to get a new fleet of workers. And we were able to put that word out, and I'm so happy that Travis has people he can rely on. It's awesome. Bob Christ and the Ready Set Fund. Something else that's great for the community, folks. ReadySetFund.com. I mean, they are effective and they work. Bob Christ 11 at Gmail. He's the brother of Dave Christ, the great Blacksburg football coach. They want to help you, and just go to Floyd County and ask them about the fact they raised $4,000. Their goal was like $2,000. They raised $4,000 in 5 days, thanks to the Ready Set Fund. They're the best. Thanks to Harvey's Gym in Radford. Go buy your next vehicle from Brad Harvey. Great service department as well. Top Shelf Apparel. Brandon, thank you. 4377 Lee Highway. He, of course, created our T-shirts. Thanks, everybody on the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. Very proud to be part of that. James Lawson, Mobile Home Supply, 381-8011 in the NRB Super Bowl business for 25 years. Give Amanda a call over there. Yeah, exactly. Coach tells us what we're not seeing when we think we're seeing it. But then you see these coaches and they tell you things and you start watching for it. Like our next guest who teaches me each and every game. He is Todd Grantham, old number 53, who beat the hell out of me for a couple of years, or at least 1 year. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Not much, man. How you doing? Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, man. You guys all ready? Y'all settled in now for Christmas?
I'm ready. I'm ready, man. You know, it's always I don't always get the holidays. You know, if when I was in Cleveland, Christmas Day actually fell on a Sunday, so we played Christmas Eve and we got Sunday off. That was like a huge deal. You know what I'm saying? And then when I remember the toughest one was when I was in Houston, we had to leave Christmas Day to go play. We played at Tampa the next day, and we had to leave. I don't know. Dom tried to make it where we didn't have to get up there too early, but I think I had to be in there at 11. So, you know, the holidays in pro football weren't all. You ended up having to adjust. But in college, you used to get like a couple days. Like if you played on New Year's Day, you usually had to come back like Christmas Day night or something. So, yeah, you know, it's been a little bit of a depend upon what bowl game you're in, or if you're in NFL or whatever, of how much you enjoy Christmas. But I'm enjoying it this year and ready for it to get here.
Well, a lot of people, before we get into the games, are asking about your playing career. I was trying to think of all the positions you played for Coach Hicks and then over at Virginia Tech. Can you go through? I know you played just about everywhere. I know you never came off the field.
I played everything, man. For Coach Hicks, I played on the O-line and D-line, and that was more because we had to play, both ways and everything. Back then, we used to flip the line. We called it a tight side and a split side, and actually – what's interesting is that kind of went away. It went to right and left, right? But Bobby Petrino, when I went to Louisville, still had the old tight side, split side. They flipped their line. And that was the only team that I knew of in college that actually played that way. So in college, obviously in high school, I started out at center.
That's what I thought.
I started out at center, and then I got moved to tackle as I got a little bit older. And then when I went to Virginia Tech, I played everything. I was a rotational center, but I ended up playing more guard and ended up playing tackle at the end. So I got the ball. I'm just glad they didn't have the offenses they got now where you had to drop pass, because we didn't drop back pass him. We just rolled out. We had a scrimmage one time with Coach Dooley, and I think we had like 120 plays. and there were no passes. It was all direct runs, like leads right at the linebacker. It was, yeah, like they would take you. They would take you to the human resources department now if you did that with NIL and everything. Then you plays direct runs. So yeah, a little bit different.
Do you think today? Well, I know they don't allow it. The hamburger drills that we went through at Pulaski County High School, they taught you a lot about yourselves, but that's kind of been ruled out, hasn't it?
So that you got to change the name of it. It as Oklahoma hamburger drill, but you can call it block protection. So you just got to change the rule, and everything now. It's like being a teacher. You got to give a description of what the drill entails and why you're doing it relative to development of a player. You know what I'm saying? So we still kind of do it in a one-on-one or a 2-on-2 type. You just got to have a description name of it.
Having some trouble with Todd's connection today. I think we're okay now. Yeah. Hey, somebody's asking, do you remember the toughest guy you went up against to block, whether high school or college?
Yeah, that was Perry at Clemson. He was a pretty good player when we played against Michael Dean Perry.
Michael Dean, there you go.
He was pretty good. He was smart though, man. I got him at one time. So back then we ran a toss play. Of course, we were man blocks. I had to block down, and he crossed my face, whacked me. Well, he heard the call. He heard the call and knew what the call meant. We made a tug call, and I'm like, all right, man, okay, I'll get you. So anyway, I had to cut him off because the play was going the other way. So I made a dummy call, and he thought we were running the same place. He came out, and I cut his ass. So I got him back. You know what I'm saying? So I had to use the old noggin a little bit, man, because I couldn't block the guy with the ability thing. So he went, yeah, you got me on that one. So that was probably the best player. And when I played against Miami, I can't remember but the ends, Stubblefield was one guy that Miami had blocking those guys coming off the edge. I'm just glad we didn't throw it like 80 sometimes like Phil was talking about, like Drew Brees. That would have been a tough day. So we ended up running the ball so that, they don't like those runs as much as they like rushing the passer. So I had to block Stubblefield. So he was pretty good too.
People are asking, Michael Dean was William the Refrigerator Perry's brother. There's two different dudes. Yeah, that wasn't right. The Fridge.
Yeah, that's right. Fridge, and then Michael Dean was his brother. He was a little Fridge. He had big Fridge and little Fridge.
Yeah. Well, what were some of your takes on the games as we went through them? You and I were, Oklahoma's got this massive lead, and all of a sudden mistakes happen, and here comes Alabama.
Yeah, I think that, one, you had two games that were pretty close talent-wise. Okay, with Oklahoma and Alabama, and then the Miami Texas A&M game, and then there's a lot of different ways to win games. So if you look at the Alabama Oklahoma game, explosive plays and turnovers create a lot of issues. Meaning, they dropped a punt. Well, that's like a turnover. Okay, it is a turnover with good field position, and then you throw the pick six. Well, those things, if you look at big games, your ability to create explosive plays and turnovers are much more important than how much you run the ball, what you do on third down. They're just you have to have so much more success. Like you got to have, like if you drive the ball, you got to convert 3 third downs just to get points. Well, if you get a pick six, you already got one. But when you look at the Oklahoma-Alabama game, the turnovers, the fourth down drop and the pick six, because Bauman really didn't run the ball well. The only thing with Bauman's run game is their RPOs are really good. So those go in there as passes, but they're really an extension of their run game. You know what I'm saying? So like, even though they're running the ball based upon the coverage or the look, they will throw the ball. So, Bauman's got some pretty good RPOs, which are an extension of their run game. But in that game, it was really just a product of Bama played really good defense, and they created the turnovers. And Oklahoma's offensively, they struggle too. They're not going to have a, they're not going to be able to come back or go win it in the fourth quarter. So that was that. It was really a defensive game, which was good to watch. But at the end of the day, the special teams really let A&M down. They missed a field goal, and then it still got down to explosive plays in that game because Miami returned that one punt return all the way down in like points. And then at the end of the game, when the score is close there, they busted that one run up the sidelines and it was another explosive play. So same thing, special teams or lack of special teams play, explosive plays in the special teams game or special teams. And, Miami had the one run. A&M's quarterback did not play very well. I mean, if you look at him, he's he when he plays defenses that don't have good front guys, he can kind of make that. He can make guys miss. He can create some space with his legs. He can run and do those kind of things. If you look at the teams that he's played where he's faced good rushers, guys that can rush or collapse the pocket and do those kind of things, he really kind of struggles. So that'll be something I'm sure they'll work on with him in the offseason. But really, both of them came down to a play or two, and they were pretty close. And at the end of the day, it gets down to explosive plays and turnovers. I mean, it's just hard to overcome those when the teams are even. National Football League, that if you were +1 in the turnover margin, because in NFL, your teams are always equal. You know what I'm saying? Or it's close. Either there's parity. And if you were +1, you won like 88% of your games. So that always always made it as +1, because the mindset needed to be, if they get a turnover, we got to get 2. If they get 2, we got to get 3, rather than saying go get 3 turnovers. Well, hey, when I'm Florida and Georgia, we turned the ball over 5 times. And I was at Georgia. Well, we got 6, so we won the game. So I think you got to go that route. And then in the other games, it's just a mismatch. I mean, when
you kept telling me. You said, Rick, they're not going to be close. They're not going to be close.
Here's why it's kind of like waterfront property. There's only so much of it, right? Well, there's only so many big people in the world, okay? And most of those big people are going to play at these elite schools, all right? And if they're at a lower level than that, what they're going to do is they're going to go there for a year, play, and they're going to go in the portal. So your ability to have guys that can play with those guys pre-portal was pretty low percentage. Well, now that you have the portal, there is no percentage. I mean, it's just going to happen. And, like if you just take they score 14 straight points, and they could run the ball at will on Tulane. And truthfully, that opened up their play action passes down the field, and they were able to create some explosive plays like that. And really, they kind of took the gas off. I mean, they started just trying to shrink the game, because once you get into the playoffs, it's different. Meaning it's all about winning the game, kind of like in pro football. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of took the gas off. And then in the other game, it's 34-3, and the game's over. Just the speed. And the other thing that showed up in the Oregon game is, I think Oregon's good up front, as well as, the other teams that we're talking about. But Oregon's speed, their ability to get the, Oregon, JMU's trying to do these pressures and all this. But at the end of the day, the quarterback's, I'm going to throw it in the flat. And when he throws it in the flat, the guy catches the ball. He's got a couple blockers. It's like a perimeter run, and the guy's out the gate. You know what I'm saying? So if you went back and just looked at the ball's in the flat, get it to your skill guys in space in that game. It was 34-3. And here's what's interesting about that. I hear they got 500 yards on them and all that. Well, they got 100 yards in the last 3 minutes of the game, because they went down and scored on the last drive. If you watch, Oregon took their starters out on defense, okay? And it tells you, and here's why you do that, though. And I've done this because I had this happen to me. So when I'm at Mississippi State, we're playing UMass, okay? And we have to play Alabama the next week. So you know how the players are. So we're winning the game 21-7 in the third quarter, okay? So it's one of, it ain't finished. You know what I'm saying? So I had John Abrams, okay? And it's a 3rd down call. So we're going to blitz John, okay? We're going to blitz John through the weak side B gap and get 2 on the back. Well, the quarterback doesn't even see John. At least if that guy would have done a better job of recognizing we were blitzing, it would have helped us. Well, he didn't even see John. And the guy sees him at the very end, and he like flinches and drops down. Well, they get John for targeting. Okay. So the issue with targeting in college is you're out for 4 quarters.
Yeah.
So that means I didn't have him for the first 2 quarters of the Alabama game. So from that day on, anytime we played, like when I'm at Florida, we're playing South Florida, and we're up, I think it was, 31-3 at halftime. Anybody that was a playmaker wasn't playing the second half in that game. And I didn't play starters. And the reason for that is I didn't want the penalty, because we had to play Alabama the next week. So I'm not going to risk that penalty just to have good stats in this game. You see what I'm saying? So my point is and we ended up struggling in the game because we played some threes and things like that. But I'll take the heat for the struggle because I want to have my best players available. So if you looked at Lanning in that game, a lot of his starters were out on defense, because if you get a targeting play, you're out of the game. So they actually subbed their D line on the 1 yard line on the next to last touchdown because they were ticked off, and they put those guys back in on the 1. But up until then, they had their threes in there, and that's the way they did the whole defense. And the reason they did that is if you lose a guy in the second half against JMU up 34-3 at the time, when you got to go to Texas Tech, that's just not being smart. So you just find a way to win the game and move on. But the other thing it'll tell you is the NIL numbers that guys have. Okay, you're going to pay these guys. Well, every guy doesn't get paid. Okay, so you're going to pay your starters, and then you're going to pay your quality backups. But once you get beyond that, because you got 100 scholarships, you're going to be looking for guys. So at the end of the day, when it was 34-3 and they start pulling guys, other than the size of the front guys, the difference is not a lot. I mean, and truthfully, JMU may have better players at that point in the game because, truthfully, they're getting paid the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the other thing is when you look at because I've watched a lot of football, is the lower tier quarterbacks, like there's more of those, meaning like JMU's quarterback's pretty good. And then when you factor in the kind of rush that he sees in his conference, he's really going to excel. Okay. So, I'm sure he'll be in the portal and he'll get some interest because he does have some ability. And then your ability to have outside receivers, like you can find receivers, like, you can find guys outside, because they actually had a couple of skill guys outside that can make some plays. So that disparity is not going to be as great as the big men, size, speed, that kind of stuff. That's where the disparity comes. And then in the second half, when it was totally out of control, to protect your guys from getting a penalty, and not being able to play against Texas Tech, you just live with the results and get through it. And actually for Lanning, it's a good thing, because I would say his guys aren't satisfied, kind of ready to go, because I think they'll give Texas Tech a pretty good run when they play them down at Texas Tech.
Is there a game that stands out to you in the next round that excites you the most? Is it Ohio State, Miami, Indiana, Alabama? What game do you look at and say, okay, this is going to be good?
I think Ohio State, Clemson. I think, well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think the winner of the Ohio State Georgia game is going to be the guy that probably wins it. I mean, when you look at how it's unfolding, now I know they got to beat the teams, but when you look at it, the Ohio State, Georgia bracket, I think that'll be, one that's pretty telling. I mean, the Alabama Indiana game will be interesting to see, because, the thing it's almost like a perfect storm with Indiana from the standpoint of, and I've kind of looked at their roster. They brought in 13 players from JMU, okay, with him. So that's 13 core guys. I thought Tom Allen did a decent job of recruiting there. He didn't have the resources that Signetti had, but he had probably 5 or 6 guys that were decent. So if you add those 13 with those 5, that's 18 guys in your top 22. You know what I'm saying? And then you go to the portal and you can get a quarterback who's really probably as NFL ready as anybody that's playing now, more than most. Okay. And you hit on a couple D linemen, like their D linemen are pretty good.
Yeah.
So, you hit on a couple of those. Let's say you get 5 guys out of the portal. Now you got 27 guys. Well, you're going to play a whole team with that. Like, you're not going to play more than 27, 28 guys in a whole season, barring injury. So kind of looking at how they built that team, it's a little bit of a perfect storm in the sense of he came from a quality program like JMU. He brought 13 guys with him. Okay, so he knew those guys that went in the portal, and they're pretty good, solid core guys. Like I said, I thought Tom Allen did a decent job of recruiting there. He didn't have the resources or the quarterback. And, you add 4 or 5 guys from that group. Now you got it down to 18 to 20 guys. Then you go in the portal, get a quarterback, 4 or 5 guys. You got 25 to 27 guys. And then you go coach those guys up. That's kind of what happened. So, I think that'll be an interesting game to watch it. Bauma's lack of ability to run the ball is really something. I mean, I'll be honest with you, they might as well just forget. The only thing about their run game is the RPOs. It's a pretty good RPO system, but their inconsistency and ability to run the ball is pretty mind-boggling from the standpoint of knowing the emphasis that Nick put on offensive linemen when I was there, and just knowing what he emphasizes. Big people move people. You know what I mean? And DeBoer has only been there. This is only his second year, so it's not like those guys left the program. I mean, they were there. So their inability to run the ball is something that is kind of, interesting to think about.
Finally, let me ask you, because of how well Miami plays defensively, especially up front, does that give them a better chance than maybe most teams that you would think going into the horseshoe this time of year?
Yeah, I think that Miami, I think their defense is really good. They're very stout up front. They got skill guys outside, and they do got a quarterback. Carson Beck has, it's an interesting guy. Like if you're in Georgia, like those guys cannot stand the guy. You know what I mean? Like the fans and all that, just his demeanor. He's not one of those guys that gives you like the excitement and things like that. But he is a good player. He's going to be an NFL quarterback. So you do have that. You got skill. So I think you have a chance. It always gets down to unusual things, turnovers, explosives, things like that. But I'll be honest, man, Ohio State's defense is so good. I mean, I've watched them. I mean, they play multiple things. They play 4 down. They play a 3-4 nickel structure, which we call mint, and then they can get in what we call 5-1, which we call cub, and their ability to set the edge. And they probably got about 5 legitimate first-round picks on their defense. That when you create those one-on-ones, they're pretty salty. I think the thing that's interesting about that situation is if you look at all the teams that struggled at that level, like Ohio State really struggled with Indiana, and I go back to the OC had just taken a head job. I do think that factors in. I think that, that's a little bit of an advantage Ole Miss had playing Tulane, meaning like, look, that was like a scrimmage. Okay. They were going to win the game. Okay. But it allowed them to iron out the kinks because people were in new roles. You know what I'm saying? Not so much Charlie Weiss has called the plays all year, but Pete was in a new role of having to make decisions. He also moved from the booth to down on the field. And then, he's worried about adjustments with, the defense or whatever, which there weren't a lot of adjustments, but he had to get through how am I going to manage handling these adjustments with my team? And then they want to know, hey, we want to go for it or we want to punt. So you got to handle all that situational stuff being a defensive coordinator / head coach. So I do think that was an advantage for Ole Miss to be able to play that game because they had coaches in new roles to iron out their procedure and what they do. So I think that was good. But getting back to Ohio State, man, they really struggled against Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. And just watching offensively, they didn't look the same. And I'm not making it a fault or an excuse or anything, but when guys take new roles, now all of a sudden their OC's worried about, well, who's my staff going to be? What am I going to do with the players there? Because they have a few players that are going to go in the portal. Well, I'm going to try to keep those guys to help me win next year. So you got to balance all that stuff. And it just didn't look like it fit to me. So I think that side will be better in this game. So I think they always have, anytime you play good defense and you got skill like they got, like we went to, when I was at Michigan State, we played Ohio State in the shoe and they were number 1 in the country. And we had a receiver named Plexico Burris. Okay. Well, we only completed, I think, 3 passes that day, and all 3 of them were like 70+ yards to Plexico, and we won the game like 21-14. That we couldn't run the ball. We just threw it up to him. And so I mean, you got a chance. You know what I'm saying? So I think they'll have a chance, but I really do think, man, Ohio State is really good defensively, and I think they'll iron out some things offensively with their procedure, how they're doing it, and kind of go from there.
Well, that's a great point you make. And not only are the 2 G5 teams, kind of overmatched physically, both their coaches are going somewhere else. They're there, right? But they've got new jobs waiting on them. You wonder how you're right. It shifts things a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I think it shifts. And I actually think it's even harder at the coordinator level, meaning the head coach doesn't really call the plays. Like he just kind of sits there and he might do things during the course of the week from a preparation standpoint, but he's really just got to decide, hey, are we going for it or not? Those kind of things. Whereas a coordinator, he's got to call every play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when the coordinators take those jobs, that ends up really affecting the game because he's got to make the decision every play of what we're going to do. And then you get into that power struggle. Do I continue to develop my game plan or am I good? And, I don't watch that extra 30 minutes or I watch that extra game. Do I go work on, what I'm going to be doing next year? So it's a tough balance. But I think that now that they've had that game, I think Ohio State will kind of iron that out and they'll look a little bit more like they've looked earlier in the year.
Well, TG, it's great stuff, brother. And thank you so much. You're giving me a new way I look at the games now, too, just watching, checking out these contests. So thank you.
Yeah, man. I saw, your boys at Denver, they do the old man zone ID quite a bit. They'll put the back out and they'll bring you back in and then they'll see if it's man or zone and play it. So there's a lot of that stuff going on. It's kind of fun to watch and then watch the guys check and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's the game we live in now.
Yeah, Trevor figured it out yesterday. Jacksonville had a good plan. They kind of beat up on the Broncos yesterday.
Yeah, Jacksonville is one of those interesting deals. They got a quarterback that can really play. And, I mean, in that league, the quarterback play is so important. I mean, if you don't have a quarterback, you got single-digit chance of winning. It just what all you have to do is, like I think I told you, we used to do all these studies when I was in pro football, like how do you get into playoffs? Is it rushing? Is it third down? Is it sacks and all this, turnovers, all this? The number one stat every year was very simply, what was your quarterback rating? Okay. And then what did your defense make the other team's quarterback rating be? And it was always a plus minus. And the teams that had the highest plus, meaning our guy played really good and we made the other guy play really bad, those guys won the game. And just the way the rules are set up in pro football, I mean, that's what they want. They want entertainment. They want the passing. They want the explosive plays down the field. And that's why the rules are the way they are. And if you just look at all the teams that are winning, their quarterbacks that are playing playing really good. And then when you look at all the teams that are getting ready to pick first, they're all talking about what quarterback we're going to take because their quarterbacks are playing really bad. So, it's no more complicated than that. Your ability to, have a quarterback in that league.
It's true. We oversimplify. Sometimes we make things too hard, don't we? We do.
Yeah. Yeah. What is interesting though is Sean Payton's not a big analytics guy. That's an interesting deal. He's not a big, hey, it says go for it. No, I'm punting. You know what I'm saying? And playing the field position and all that kind of deal. And that actually came up in the broadcast yesterday when they were talking about it. But Sean's not a big analytics guy. He's going to base it on the game, what he thinks his strengths are relative to the team they're playing, which to me is the right way to do it and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I agree. All right, brother. Have a great holiday, man. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to all the people watching. You have a great day, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right, brother. Stay safe, man. Talk to you. Great stuff. Todd Grantham. There you go, man. I tell you what, I eat that stuff up, man. It just, talking to Todd as much as we have recently, I'm watching these games now so much differently. He and Coach Omo. It's so cool because you just have an education there now that you don't. You're getting it from guys who are the best, that do this for a living, have done this, and Todd's gonna do it one more time. And it's just great, man. It's great. Thank you to everybody. Great stuff. Everybody in chat. We will have a Tuesday show tomorrow. I believe Burnup's okay tomorrow. I know Marva's going to join us. David Smith. We'll see how things develop. I understand people are traveling for the holiday, and we'll find out for sure what's going on. But tomorrow will be our final show. We're going to break a couple days for Christmas, on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and we'll be back on Friday. So thanks to everybody. And again, please subscribe to the channel. That would be awesome. If you want a T-shirt, hit me up. $20 here locally, and $30 if you need them shipped. But thanks to everybody, and thanks to our guests today, Coach Elmo and Coach Grantham. If you're like me, man, and you're football junkie and you just want to expand your education, I love listening to those guys. It's so helpful. It's really cool. It does open up a whole world of how things go when you're watching a game. It does. I mean, I'm sitting there watching, and every time I'm thinking about Coach Elmo talking about press coverage, Why aren't teams using more press coverage? Don't give them 7 yards. What are we doing? Things like that. Good stuff. But everybody have a great rest of your day. I hope people have time for some time off and can relax a little bit. And we'll see you tomorrow here on the program. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. But thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see you tomorrow, our final show before we break away for a couple days for Christmas. Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.